truth. It's the Tom and Mickey Show.
Everything is showbiz.
Lights, camera, action. Presenting
Peter Cincotti, Rainbow Connection. Our jobs on a daily basis are helping people to buy and sell real estate. We love our jobs, we love our clients, but an integral part of our souls is about music and show business. We gravitate towards people who understand show business, who understand the Mel Brooks mantra of everything is show business. You want to have fun, you want to gather, you want to make music and have martinis and make memories, and that's what life is about. Peter Cincotti is a fantastically gifted singer, songwriter, pianist. This kid is talented. And the conversation with Peter is kind of like a Sunday afternoon dinner where you're gathering with your family and your friends and you're hanging out and you're telling stories. Peter even brought mozzarella.
This is right out of the box.
Right out of the box.
Fresher than the mozzarella.
So,
did you refrigerate it?
So our beloved friend, Peter Cincotti, this is your 7th album, right?
Yes.
7th album.
First
one
vinyl.
on vinyl.
First vinyl,
Yeah.
correct.
So what I want to start in the present, and then we can go back a little bit. But
Sure.
the present is
Yes.
that this vinyl is our 2nd copy.
Oh, here we go.
We
I
had
know where
one-
you're going.
So 2 days ago, we had this, but it was stolen from us at the Polo Bar by this guy named George Clooney. You may have heard of him. He's going to be on Broadway in April. He's coming in to do a show. Good night and
Good night and good luck.
thank you.
Yes.
See, that's why I keep
That's
him
why
around.
you keep him around.
He remembers this shit.
You need that.
But it was a fun night.
That was a lot of fun.
It was a really fun night. So we took Peter and his gorgeous new wife Zainab to dinner at the Polo Bar. To
So much better than
celebrate.
the old.
I was just gonna say he said it like it was like I had an old one. And by the way, I said that once on stage when I was talking. I mentioned her at one point. I'm like, my new wife, and then after the show, I got all these comments. Were you married before? Anyway, go ahead. Keep talking. Sorry. She's better than the other wife. Yeah.
Good decision.
Thank you.
We had a little cocktail. We sat in the lounge upstairs, and then we're on our way down for dinner. And we're usually at the Polo Bar. They seat you immediately. It's like precision. Everything is moving beautifully. And somehow we weren't being seated immediately. There was a little pause, and we turned and looked. And it was Mr. Clooney on the step.
That's
They're
right.
getting ready for his party's arrival. And he is a fan of yours, from what I understand. He talked about you on
I
on
think
air.
so. I remember hearing, I can't speak for him, but I remember hearing when my first record came out that he was a fan of that. Again, we heard he was talking like my publicist at the time. I was 18 and my publicist called me, George Clooney's talking about you in People magazine. I said, really? So I don't like know the man well, but I just knew him through a couple of instances like that and appreciated that he was a fan. And then about 10 years later, or a few years later, he was getting honored at the Cinematheque Awards and requested me to perform in LA for him. And that was very cool. I did that. But again, it was, few instances like that, but it's been over probably 10 years since I saw him.
It was a beautiful moment of Beshert.
Yeah, it really was.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
he was lovely.
Yeah.
He's like, you look the same. I'm not quite. You look pretty good too.
So Peter and George are having a nice moment, and our record was we offered.
Swifted away.
Well, Zainab knew exactly what to do. She knew exactly.
It's so funny.
It's like we were trick-or-treating. It was like, you don't get that apple. That's George's apple.
And so George has this as well.
Yes, he does.
And now we have it, and it will be part of our collection.
I will say, too, he was very kind about the theft.
Yes,
Or
he
the
was. He's like,
reappropriation.
no, I don't want to write
The
you up the
appropriation.
theft.
Yeah, it wasn't a theft. There's
It's
no
a strong
theft.
word, Tom.
There was no.
Mickey.
There was no theft.
The martinis were.
Martinis are awesome.
Tom, Mickey?
It's
I know
the
this guy, by
other
the
Tom.
way. How long do I know you?
24 years. No, more probably.
Yeah, so I know
We met
I know who the man
Peter,
is.
slow down the olives. It's the olives that get
It's
to you.
the olives. I'm telling you, and I got to slow down. What were we
No,
saying?
George was very
He was
gracious.
kind about that.
Yes, very
The
kind, very friendly.
reappropriation.
And we should also note that you don't typically go from restaurant to restaurant carrying a bag of your own albums.
No, it was
Unlike some of the-
it was for you guys. And now you got, the intended copy.
Good. Thank you.
This is a special pressing, I guess.
Yes, it is.
We're gonna talk more about vinyl, but we have to go back and discuss our where we first met, Peter. So 2000, it was 2000 because you had just turned 17, right? So in 2000 you would have been
That's
17.
correct. Yes, that's correct.
So 25 years ago now, it was the last thing that I did professionally, a little off-Broadway show called Our Sinatra.
Was that the last thing?
It was the last thing I did. We'll get into that, or maybe we won't. But it was a great gig for me. I did it for 18 months. You did it for what, 6 weeks?
Something like that.
Yeah. You came in
It
as
was
like
a great gig for me too. I loved it.
you were like because you were a budding rock star at the moment.
Yeah, right.
and Jack Lewin found you and brought you in. Tell us how that happened.
I told you that the other night, which you made me remember. I was playing at a restaurant, which was a sister restaurant of the East Harlem,
That's
the
right.
very famous one called Rayo's. They had a sister, and I know a lot of those guys growing up, and they had a sister restaurant called Baldoria. And I was in 9th grade playing Wednesday night at Baldoria, and I remember I'd bring my little guitar. It was a guitar speaker, but I used it for any amplification at these places. I'd bring a stand like this. I would do what you're doing with all the fiddling with the mics myself, and I'd set it up and I'd play every Wednesday night. Tony Bennett was there one night, and it was just great to be able to play in front of other people. One of those other people was Jack Lewin.
Mm-hmm.
Who is a character and he has discriminating taste.
The most.
And knowledgeable. And I remember he was very picky about certain musical things. He still is. And I remember him telling me about the show. And he goes, maybe you could do this. Would you do this? And we were both huge Sinatra fans. So he got me on that. And then next thing you know, I'm doing this show. It was incredible. I loved it.
When you came into the show, it was such a kick for all of us because it was like, wow, this is a 17-year-old kid. And at the time, I was 30, right? Yeah. So I was about 30.
Incredible. And also there was the fact that it wasn't just the show. I was starting to play clubs a little bit even at that age in the city, but it's not 8 shows a week? What did we do?
8 shows a week.
So that alone, being able and having to do the same thing every night and to learn a script and to be, that was a great experience for me because in my normal touring or shows, and even back then, it's not a discipline you really need to learn.
It was the first time that you had done something
of course,
like that.
Yeah, and it was great. I learned a lot from that whole experience.
It was a ball.
And we had a ball.
We had so much fun.
We had a few duets together. We were trying to remember which song it was.
We figured, what did we decide? The One I Love Belongs to Somebody Else, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That was great. It was great.
That was our big duet. And one of the most fun things that I remember of that time was how we would all hang out almost every night after the show.
Yes.
We'd be going out for big pasta
I
dinners.
know.
And
I know. Didn't we go a lot to the Brooklyn Diner?
The Brooklyn
Remember that
Diner.
place? They had a
yeah.
good mac and cheese, which I don't even eat, but it was very good.
That's very good.
It's gone, right?
It's there.
No, it's there.
It's still there. Okay.
Shelley Fireman.
Wow. Yeah, we had a lot of great meals. It was a great time.
It was a lot of
It
fun.
was a lot of fun.
So to this day, I still feel like Peter is my younger cousin.
Exactly. That's what it
My
feels
younger
like.
cousin.
And Tom met family members of mine through that Sinatra period when we were both doing some promotion for the show. It was really great. Really great.
It was a time that it just brought me back to my youth. And I know Peter longer than I know you.
That's true.
But
I don't take it personally.
it's
To
just
make a thing of it, but yeah,
it's just life and the way it happens. But you know what I mean, because you've now seen, because Mickey was not raised Italian. What were you raised? You were raised.
So it's raised what?
What? And over here, we got Cincotti, we got Postilio. and
what do you got?
We got Cleveland.
There was no strong. I'm Irish and German and Polish. I'm like a mutt, but there was no strong influence except around March. Everybody becomes Irish in March.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh,
Yes.
Mickey Conlon. I mean, that's
That's
pretty
so
Irish.
funny.
Yeah.
But to this day, you've seen how my family operates. and-
No, I mean, I remember big family gatherings, but your family gatherings are epic. I first met your entire family on Easter.
What a way to come
said-
into the fold.
Come meet the whole family. They'll be here. It's Easter Sunday. Oh, actually, they were all wonderful. Everybody was wonderful. They're very welcoming. It was a lot.
It's a different,
He was crucified upon arrival.
And by the way,
In nome de Padre, Filio.
and nothing has changed. On the way in, you kiss everybody. On the way out, you kiss everybody.
Anytime we were living a family gathering, my father would say, kiss anything that moves.
That's great.
If it moves, kiss it.
That's great. That is so great.
But
It's a
you,
dying breed.
Yeah.
but you,
It
I mean,
really
I
is.
remember over the years we come and hang out with you and your mom and sister.
Oh, the
and
whole
the family
family,
has
yeah.
grown, and Sunday dinners, and you're ordering
Of
a
course.
sambuca at the end.
Of course.
You know.
You offered that the other night. I hadn't had that in years.
I mean, that's like
Of course, I grew up with that, and you know, crazy uncles and the big family and characters, a lot of colorful people. You know, it's just a special thing. New York, on both sides, Italian, Jewish. It's New York. You know,
It's the best.
certain generation, and then I got it on both sides, and just characters, colorful people. They'll straighten you out in 2 seconds.
We always say the Jewish and the Italian. It's a very similar journey. It's just a different type of guilt.
Exactly. That's
Right?
great. That's great.
When Manny Eisenberg was here, he was saying the Irish and the Italian was like, that wasn't common. You have to move to Cuba or something.
Yeah, right.
That was-
Right. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, because my father is Lenny Pastilio from Brooklyn, and my mother is Eileen Moore from Queens.
Oh,
You know, so
I didn't realize
and in
that.
the '60s, that was verboten.
Yeah, of course. I didn't
know?
realize that.
Yeah. So, but in
Yeah,
your
interesting.
situation, you're
Italian, half Jewish.
and your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
The best of both
yeah,
worlds.
that's what I
Peter.
liked. It was a lot of food. It's a lot of food.
That's the best part.
Yeah,
Have you ever done the
exactly.
ancestry things or?
You know, Zainab got me, my wife got me one of those 23,
Yeah.
you know, I forgot what it was. I just didn't want to spit in the thing.
So you didn't do
So
it.
she did it, and it looked incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, again, she thought I was crazy, which I guess I am. But she, because you know, you're getting profiled anyway. They got all the information.
got
on you.
everything.
I just had what am I going to do? It's like doing the clear thing at the airport. I don't really want to look at it. You know, I still have that, even though I know it's hopeless. It's just I was the last guy of my peers to get a cell phone.
And me, I was going to say, and meanwhile,
Yeah.
you're on your iPhone
Yeah,
or
forget
whatever.
it. I already know. I mean,
yeah.
it's totally hypocritical. But anyway, she did it, and it's fascinating because you see, have you guys done it?
We have.
Oh, okay. So I'm curious now. So you see how it's just fast. I'm interested in it. I'll probably do it at some point.
It's interesting. You'll find, first of all, Tom was very excited to do it because he was so desperate to find some place in the family where he was Jewish. He was trying to find his Jewish roots.
I was baking Christmas cookies one year with my mother, who was raised Catholic, went to Catholic school. And at some point, she said something about, I think Grandpa's great-grandmother was Jewish. I was like,
Isn't that
there was
funny?
there was a Jewish line in our family at some point, because I've been trying to find that.
Isn't that funny?
He found nothing.
There was
He found nothing.
It was like Geraldo Rivera, Al Capone's vault. Like nothing.
I was
nothing.
crushed and horrified, and that was the end of it.
That's great.
Yeah.
The ancestries, that's a hell of a door to open. Well, I even know people in other ways that, and adoption plays into this, where the grown men or grown women, they find out they're adopted late in life, and everyone who they thought was this was that. And a friend of mine was like, he was raised Italian in an Italian family, and he later found out he wasn't Italian.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm actually fully Jewish, and he did a deep dive, and it it's incredible. You can find out now.
Yeah.
I have a cousin that I never knew that found me somehow only because of the public aspect of my career,
Yeah.
which is also interesting because if I wasn't a performer of any kind, I probably would not even have this story to tell. I get these clippings in the mail from a woman I think she was in Seattle at the time, or on the West Coast, Washington. And it's my father as a kid in the envelope. You get some fan mail here and there.
Wow.
I open the envelope. It's my aunt and my this and my father. I'm like, in East Harlem. And I'm like, and then there's this and this. I'm like, what the hell? And she wrote me this lovely note. She goes, I think we're related. Turns out we are. And she used to her family and and she did a deep dive in all of the ancestry.com. She's the one in that leg of the family that knows everything. So since then we reconnected, and now I know all this other information. She says, I think, if we go back, she had the whole family tree. I think this is where it started, in a town called, it was in a region outside of Naples called Avellino. I think this is where the Cincotti is from. So the name Cincotti. So I start, listening to her and learning from this woman I never met. I tour a lot in Italy. Mm-hmm. So I have a week off. It's just the craziest thing. Turns out she's right. She narrows it down to a town in Avellino called Cervinara, a very small town. So I have a week off once I know this information in between tours. And I have my friend Luca meet me, who speaks Italian. And I said, let's go. Maybe we could find some Cincotti. I met my cousin, told him the story, the whole with the thing. We go to Cervinara in between my Italy tours. And we go into the town. It's like going back in time. It's incredible. There's a group of guys in the square playing cards. Not a lot going on, quiet. And we're walking through, it was like a hill, I'll never forget. And a cop car comes down the hill. And he stops us because we clearly don't look like we're locals. And he rolls down the window and the cop says, "Can I help you guys?" And my friend Lucas says in Italian, "My friend here is trying to find his roots, his family roots. Apparently he's from Cervinara." He goes, "What's the name?" And my friend Lucas says, "Cincotti." And the cop says, "Cincotti." He says, "Get in the car." This is exactly how it happened.
The car.
Back door opens. I looked at Lucas. We might as well take a shot. Let's get in the car.
They didn't read your rights or anything.
No. Get in the car. Now Luca and I.
You have no rights.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, forget about your rights.
Miranda rights. Just
We
get in the car.
Exactly. So we thought we'd take a shot. We're in the back of the car, riding God knows where, in the middle of outside Naples hills. And then the cop makes a phone call. And we're driving, and nobody knows what the hell's going on. We show up to a house, a beautiful big house with a gate that opens up. Turns out it was the mayor's house of the mayor of Cervinara, who happened to be a fan of my music. Out of nowhere.
Wow.
He had all of his children lined up, each holding a piece of watermelon. I'll never forget. Each of them lined up holding watermelon. They were the loveliest people. We met, my friend translated, we talked about my heritage. A year later, they made me an honorary citizen of Cervinara, of the town of Cervinara. And they had a big concert honoring me. It was the craziest thing. They had a marching band honoring me.
God.
Like I said, there's not a lot going on there. But it was a huge honor. And now I have a special place for Cervinara. But also for what are the chances? That cousin, it all came back to the cousin. And if I wasn't a singer, I would have not ever had that experience from meeting her. So anyway, that's my ancestry story.
Spit in the tube.
Yeah, I know.
Just do it.
Spit in the tube.
They've got it anyway.
I don't have to know. I met like 96 grandmothers, apparently. They're all named Cincotti over there. That's
Do you
my
play
tube.
there once a year now?
I haven't been back since that big night.
Oh.
But I will go back, and I'll go back.
Get your agent on that.
I know. I want to go back. It was very special, and the food was incredible. The ceremonies they created around the concert was incredible. It was like old time stuff you cannot find that easily these days.
It's gorgeous.
That's beautiful. Okay. All right, let's go back to music, because that's your. Well, it's part of our souls, right? All of it. I mean, we sell real estate now, but just because it pays better.
You still sound pretty good, Tom. We did a little tester before this podcast. Yeah, brought me right back.
It's fun. It's fun.
Very nice.
But after our Sinatra, you kind of catapulted into, you went touring all over the world. You were in Vanity Fair. You've made now 7 albums. I know that we are heavily, heavily Sinatra influenced, and we must talk about St. Francis of Hoboken, as we call him. We talk about Frank, but so we'll shift to Frank, the influence of Frank, and then if there are other influences, because we've been listening to a lot of your original music leading up to tonight.
Oh, that's nice.
Yesterday and today.
So you were the guys.
But
that's right.
But I even there's like a touch. There's a little nod to Billy Joel, maybe.
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course. I love Billy Joel.
So,
Yeah.
tell us
I guess
more
it depends on when you say when people say that to me, I never know which album they're listening to because it's pretty diverse. If you look at my first two records that happened after Sinatra, there was a big shift after that second record to my third because I started writing all my own stuff again. I grew up with all the Sinatra stuff. I grew up with all the American Songbook. I loved it. But in a parallel way, and I don't talk about it a lot, only in retrospect do I put it together. But when I sat down to play the piano at first, I've been playing since I was 3. But when I was about 8 or 9, I started writing songs. And the songs that I would write would be these like ultra pop, almost like Celine Dion type, almost saccharine melodies. And that was my instinct. And I have tapes and tapes and tapes of that 9, 10, 11. And I'm like, I don't know where that's coming from. I didn't necessarily grow up with that, but I put that there. Then I get into all the boogie woogie piano playing of Jerry Lee Lewis, who was really my first influence when I was 5. Early rock and roll, 1950s rock and roll led me to blues, led me to jazz players in my teens like Oscar Peterson and all these incredible piano players. And that would be what took me basically to the time I met you. I was on this jazz course. Now, when I had all these great jazz teachers, jazz, blues, whatever it may be, in New York, whenever I would share some of the pop stuff that I had all these tapes of that I still did almost in a quiet way, the jazz teachers were not so happy with that. They would steer me back towards. So I kept doing it, but again, didn't do it. So then I make my first record that did really well in the jazz. They put it in the jazz scene, touring. Second record followed up. I'm working with Phil Ramone and a whole great team, traditional, but also still trying to find new ways to do old classic songs, to take new approaches. I didn't want to come out and sing, speaking of Sinatra, I didn't want to come out and sing Come Fly With Me or Fly Me to the Moon, any of these classics, because he did it so good. What am I going to do? I was actively, unless I have some unique idea that I think's really worthwhile, I'm not going to touch that stuff. So on my first record, even on the jazz lane, I was still I would have a Blood, Sweat, and Tears song on my first album. I have a song from the Muppets. I have combined Nat King Cole with the Beatles, which was an idea of my cousin Vicky. Still trying to find my own voice. But I have all this pop stuff. Then I make 2 records in the jazz. Everybody knows me in that jazz lane. And then out of nowhere, I just start writing again. At all these, but let's say pop songs, but now they're colored with all the years of jazz and blues and all that stuff. So the songs are coming out differently now, but they're still kind of pop songs. It's not how they know me as a crooner or whatever they want to. So I get hired for this private gig in LA right after my second record. And they hired me to be my first 2 records, which is the traditional American songbook, new arrangements or not, jazz guy. I have the brilliant idea at this private event to do none of that material and play all my original stuff, which would have been a huge mistake had not one guy been in the audience that night, and that was David Foster. Yeah. And David Foster, after that show, said, I love you as a jazz artist, but you're really a songwriter. Can we make a record of all your own songs? And I said, I would love that. And I was so passionate about that. But without his, support, I wouldn't have had that other aspect of my career. So we made that third record, and everything's been different since then. Yeah. So now when you say, long story short, I've listened to your stuff, I don't know what. And now I'm trying, in the last couple records, trying to blend the things together, because to me, it's just music. It's either good music or bad music.
Correct.
And that's how I think of music, But, people need to put things in categories, and I face that a lot on the business end of things.
Yeah, sure.
That's my whole spiel with that. I hope you enjoyed whatever the hell you heard.
That was a good spiel.
It's a spiel.
That was a good spiel. We have determined we are huge fans, and I think you'll tell us what album it was on, but I think it might have been your first. We love the song Rainbow Connection.
Oh, yeah.
And your recording of it is our favorite
that's so nice.
Ever.
Well, that melody is just precious. It's one of these, Fabergé egg. It's just you don't want to mess it up. It's like
Yeah.
Kenny Asher.
Kenny got. We were just talking about Kenny.
We were just talking about Kenny. Yeah.
That melody is, it's just the best. It's just the best. So I thank you for that. But yeah, I grew up hearing that song.
Did Kenny play on it with you?
No, that was me. Yeah. But I hope
Kenny
he
play
likes
on
it.
He's a piano player.
Right.
I'll be okay.
Yeah.
You couldn't get Kenny? No, you have to do it. I know, right? You filled in. That's nice.
You notice I'm
what's
sipping this very
I know,
slowly.
me
but-
too, by the way. God knows what the hell I'm about to say. I remember working on that song with a brilliant piano player. I don't know if you know Fred Hirsch.
Oh, sure.
Now, I don't even know if Fred remembers this because I had 1 or 2 lessons with him and that was it. And at that time, I was signed to a record deal and I was working on material and trying to find it. I took Rainbow Connection as basically a project listen, I know how it's been done and I know how it's this and this is how I'm hearing it, but I want to put some density in some of the chords. He was so brilliant. And I learned a lot from him on those lessons. And I remember in retrospect, they might've been centered around other things, but to me, Rainbow Connection was the centerpiece of those lessons. And it was almost like we didn't even play the piano. We were talking around the piano about how to approach a certain voicing in a song with a melody as strong as that. You could just play it, it's fine, but I didn't want to do that. So he was a great help during that time too.
The song is one of those, I could probably count on 2 hands the songs that when I just hear the first notes, it brings involuntary tears. There's just something in the music. That lyric though, that lyric also does something. Yeah. It's searching.
The lovers,
It's looking, it's searching. And
it doesn't quite say it,
we don't
any
really
point.
know what it is.
Yes.
It's out there.
I love
and we
that.
all want it.
Yeah,
We're all
it's
seeking
so
that.
nice. What a song.
Yeah.
Great song.
It's amazing how much quality material found these puppets. Because it's like
Easy Being Green.
Easy Being Green. You've got all this, and you've got all these. When the Muppet Show was on TV, I mean, this is going back 70s and 80s, but every A-list celebrity was on that show. And I don't think their agents had to work really hard to get them on there.
No,
it was good quality entertainment.
Amazing. You're so right. I have one other story. You could shut me up, but I guess that's why you had me on here.
That's why you're here.
That's why I'm here. This is another story. Muppets. My last record, Killer on the Keys, that was the title. And my intent there was to honor Jerry Lee Lewis in a song because he was the real killer. But I combine all these different piano players that really shouldn't be. Speaking of genre and trying to connect, that was kind of the base of my last album. So I have a Billy Joel song. I have a Coldplay song. I have Nat King Cole. I have even someone from Lady Gaga. There's a song from Lady Gaga. There's Oscar Peterson influence. There's Errol Garner. It's all these people. John Lennon.
Yeah.
People from different genres. But I wanted to make the piano the centerpiece to try to connect them. But so I'm towards the end of that record, and I think of Scott Joplin, who obviously has the famous, which everybody knows. But I would like, that'd be a great melody. Since it's so piano-centric, this record, it would be great to find a way to include that. I go on YouTube and I find a clip of Milton Bearle on the Muppets speaking with the Muppets. Now the curtain is going up. The entertainer is taking a bow, does his dance step and sings his song, even gets the whole crowd to sing along. You got to watch this clip. Where's that lyric? That lyric. Nobody knows that lyric. And everybody knows that iconic melody. So we contact whoever we got to contact. We find out, it took some digging, who did that lyric. And it was specially written for the Muppets, but Scott Joplin, the copyright was already public domain with the melody. It was a mess. Anyway, we finally did it. And that's on my last record, but with a lyric that I don't think a lot of people know.
That's awesome.
It's very cool.
He's constantly going down rabbit holes with the Muppets. And during the day, I'll be in the middle of showing an apartment and I get a Muppet clip. Like,
no,
this is a really good
resource. It's a great resource. Yeah. That's very funny.
The Muppets. Can we get the Muppets on the show too? What do you think?
We've known some of them.
We have.
Well, from Sesame Street.
Yeah, that's true. We have some Sesame Street friends.
Not the puppets, the real people. You know, it's they're like, oh God, Tom and Mickey think they're friends with Muppets.
You got to lighten up on the olives there, Mickey.
I
They're
know,
strong,
I
those
know.
olives,
They're
you know?
heavy. They're heavy.
I'm taking it easy. Do you need another drink?
No.
You're good.
This will
Good.
turn quickly. You know,
we don't want
I don't know.
that.
It won't be a podcast.
No.
You know, the funny thing is, this is the first time we've had cocktails on camera since Selling New York.
We learned a lesson.
Oh, what happened?
We did a show called Selling New York. on
I know
HGTV.
about that. I want to hear about it. I want to hear this story.
And it
Take
just
the
happens
reins.
that it was in our apartment.
Not this one.
Not this one.
This apartment is not tainted like that one is. We had to sell it immediately after this episode.
We'll soon get there with this one.
If you see this apartment come up for sale, you know.
It was the olives.
Exactly.
No, so we were doing an episode. It was in the summer. And it was right after work. It was like 5:30 or something. So we invited everybody over to our apartment. We were doing an episode about the neighborhood.
Okay.
So we had the
What's the neighborhood? Can you?
it was Midtown.
All right.
58th and 6th.
58th and 6th.
Right.
So right by the plaza, the Central Park,
Okay.
Petrosian. We'd go to the bakery. And we were talking about how to sell listings in the neighborhood over cocktails. The mistake we made is we poured martinis, and it seemed like everybody wanted martinis that night.
Oh no.
And we had very large glasses. We still
no.
do.
It was a hot summer day. It was
But
5 o'clock.
nobody had eaten yet.
eaten food.
But we got in, we started filming, and as things go, you know, it's like we have to pause, let's reset. And for continuity, we had to refill the drinks.
Yeah, we had to. We had to.
And for anybody who doesn't know,
With
continuity
vodka.
means if you have a full
great. You're right.
With
You had to
we
use
had to
vodka.
fill them with vodka.
Well,
couldn't use water.
But for anybody who doesn't know, continuity means that if you had a full drink at the beginning of the
It had
shot,
to be full again.
You gotta
if you
get it
still at the
full.
beginning of the shot, it had to be full. So we could fill them with water,
Of
which would have
course.
been smarter. And then we could have said, yeah, we'll all have cocktails at the end.
Oh, that's great.
But we just kept refilling them. And it just got worse and worse. And the editors of that particular episode said it was the hardest thing they had ever had to edit.
Not
The F-bombs were dropping. And this is
Oh, you
HGTV.
did it.
So it's not like
HGTV, you
you
gotta
could
be-
drop them here all
Oh,
night
that's
long.
great.
But
That's
it's-
great.
Yeah, it was the hard. They did the show did 8 seasons, 113 episodes or something. They said it was the hardest
That was the hardest one to edit.
Oh,
Yeah,
that is.
I'll never
Well, you gave him something to remember.
Yeah. The director was like, if we were shooting here, the director was crouching in a corner, going like this.
Please,
Please.
You know, they're you know, there's nothing like, especially this kind of drink, martini.
Yeah.
There's nothing quite like it because, as my friend Tony says, who we talked about the other night, one's not enough and two's too many, and it's so true.
No,
It just-
that's not the expression.
What is it?
No.
Two's not enough, three's too many. Oh
well,
no,
there are a
under
couple
the
of
table.
expressions.
The Dorothy Parker.
Well,
That's a great
There
one.
are two. There's
Yeah.
gosh, I'm missing the
See,
Dorothy
it's the
Parker.
olives.
I
It's
love
the
that.
olives.
Help me help you.
It's the olives.
I'll get you every time. Dorothy Parker. 1 martini, 2 at the most. 3 I'm under the table. 4 under the host. But there's an expression about breasts. 1's not enough. 2 is perfect. 3 is too many.
I didn't hear that one related
Yeah.
to funny
Yeah.
Related to what?
breasts.
breasts.
I thought that's what you
1's
said.
not enough. 2 is perfect.
Don't
3
look
is
so
too
disgusted.
many. You have them too.
I've never seen that expression on your face before.
I was like, I'm leaning. Did he say breast?
Yes, he did. All right, take it easy.
All right, that's fine. It's fine.
What do you want me to call them?
Are those fingers?
Here he is.
in my
There he goes.
hand?
And he had 2 sips.
I've had 3 sips and haven't even had an olive. Jeez Louise.
No, well, you know, 1's not enough and 2's too many. So, but thank you.
And what did the Rat Pack say? Do you remember the famous line about
What's that
drinking? We
one?
feel sorry for people who
that's
don't
good. It's
drink.
as good as you're going to feel for the rest of the day.
When they wake up in the
Yeah,
morning.
when they wake up in the
This
morning.
actually reminds me too, as I was making these, Johnny Carson said, 3 olives in your martini when you're happiness is 3 olives in your martini when you're hungry. I'm like, there's truth to that.
Oh, that's great.
right.
Did you hear that bit? Who does that? Was it Sinatra or someone where it was a sign of real friendship? Would you share my olive?
Oh no,
You never heard that?
no,
There's a
that's great.
story there. I don't want to
don't know that.
misquote it.
like share one
But
olive.
it would mean like you're it's like an honor, like you're a friend. Share my olive. We got to look it up. Get the right story.
I like that.
But apparently my olives are gone, so I can't even offer that to
Thanks a lot, friend.
Peter, I'd like to share my olives.
Thank
with
you, Tom.
because I truly love you, and you're a la familia.
Grazie.
But
Thank you.
so, but as the Rat Pack said about drinking,
Yeah.
we feel sorry for people who don't drink.
Because when they wake up in the morning, that's as... Because when they wake up in the morning, that's as good as they're going to feel for the rest of the day. It's a great quote.
It's a great quote. Probably not good at an AA meeting. But no, but so our mantra is, Mickey was a Broadway producer. You clearly know that I was a singer.
Yeah.
Now we sell real estate for a long time now, but we say that everything is show business at the end of the day. You're selling a property. You're putting on a show.
Of course, in your business. Of course, particularly in your kind of business. There's a lot of overlaps.
It's all show business.
Wow.
And that's what we are at the end of the day. Show trash.
Well, we are show trash at the end of the day. Here we are.
In the most loving way. Peter, we take this show so seriously as a prop.
You're kidding.
We just found it today, which is...
just found it today. All right, close your eyes.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. Yeah, of course.
Wait, but who's this whose? Wait. It's about the most fun I've ever had at dinner.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, between courses, not just at dinner. We're like, well, what do we do now? Well, we're waiting for the entree. Let's go downstairs and shoot some targets.
There's a shooting range downstairs. It's all very legitimate. There's security.
They got a license.
They have a license. There's guys there who monitor the whole thing. And it's all going fine, except that I am a fucking idiot when it comes to this because I have never touched a gun in my life. I have one sibling, my brother, who has a closet full of about 300 guns. I've never touched a gun.
That's amazing.
So I really, if you remember, the guy thought I was like joking around.
He did. I remember that. He was getting really frustrated with you.
I remember you were laughing your ass off. I'm like sweating.
You're holding the gun. You're looking at it. Do I do it like this?
You just kept, the ammo just kept dropping out without shooting. He's like, stop touching that. Just fire the gun.
I really thought I had to keep doing this.
No, it was incredible. I wish we had a video. That was great. But you're a good shot. You got the wrist. Did Mickey get?
I did fucking great.
You got him right in the head.
He did very well. He's very good.
I may be Irish.
Yeah, no, somebody got him right in the head. Look at that. Is there a camera there? Yeah. Look, don't mess with Mickey. I mean, right between the eyes, right in the head. That's amazing.
Me, not so much. I have other strengths. I'll say this. Some of the most fun nights we've ever had are with the Cincotti family.
Well, thank you. We have great nights.
It's just crazy. Every time we're together, it's so much fun.
It feels like family. Like we've known each other for generations. Kind of at this point, it's getting there.
We kind of sort of do.
Wouldn't it be funny if you went on Ancestry or something and you found out?
You're my cousin.
Oh my God! I knew you were my cousin. Oh my God, Petey, how you doing?
Exactly. I'll have to do it. I'll have to do it one of these days.
Chosen family.
Yeah, I know.
That's very important.
That is important too. Yeah.
Your sister's wedding, best wedding we've ever been to.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we couldn't get to yours.
Because you can't compare it.
No.
Yeah. No, we've seen.
No, that was a great wedding.
So Peter and Zainab got married in Turkey. You're 8 months now, right? A little over 8 months.
Yeah. We had last May.
So you're coming up on a year.
Yeah, that's
the photos we saw were just epic. We lived vicariously through the photos and stories from Jack Lewis.
That's very funny.
He called. We spoke for 2 hours. He walked us through.
He had a good time.
Everything. But
I was so glad he came. That's full circle too, from how I know you, and then he came.
Yeah.
It was very.
But so why there?
Well, my Zainab is Turkish. I met her in Istanbul. Her whole family's there. I met her there like 16 years ago, crazy enough. Mm-hmm. That's a long story. We told you that other night, but in a nutshell, we've stayed in touch through the years. And she moved to New York a long time ago. Yeah, we were together about 7 years now, so we did it. Beautiful. Yeah, it was really nice. We drank for you guys, and we drank enough for you guys. But you were missed.
How many people
we still
did you
feel
have?
Like we got chipped.
We had about I think it was about 150.
That's perfect.
You know, it's not a hop and a skip either, but it was a perfect size. And we got so lucky with the weather because it was an outdoor thing overlooking the Bosphorus. Have you ever been to Turkey at all?
I've been once.
You've been, okay.
Back when I used to sing on cruise ships.
Oh, really? Where, in Istanbul?
Yeah,
Amazing.
Istanbul. And I remember it distinctly. We went for, all the touristy things. We went for a Turkish bath. We went to visit the mosques and took 1,000 pictures. And
of course.
But,
it's very unique. It's really, the histories, they talk about history is incredible. And I learned a lot, and it was really, really nice.
Beautiful. I think we have to talk about Sinatra, don't we?
Where do you even start on Frank Sinatra?
Where do you start?
I don't know.
Where do you start? Wait, what?
How do you? Wait, no, that's a great song. That's not even that. I don't even. Did he?
He didn't
record that.
He never sang
He would have done that so well.
I love the Shirley. We're supposed to talk about Sinatra, but the Shirley Horn recording of that is incredible. With John, I think Johnny Mandel did the. That's one of my favorite all-time recordings.
You saw Sinatra once.
I saw him once. Yeah.
You were what year?
I was about 7. Oh wait, I should have brought that photo.
We're gonna put it in.
You put it in.
Yeah.
So
it's incredible. I'm like, 7, 8 years old. Did I send it to you already?
We have it.
Jesus, Tom.
We spoke to your advance team.
All right, Jesus. Okay.
Zaynep sent us the whole file.
Just zooming in, same photo, just 10 incarnations. Yeah, I got a photo, and I even showed when I played at the Carlyle in December like a moron because I'm so proud of it. I mean, who the hell? And I'm all slick back. You'll see the photo, but I showed it every night, and in our last 2-week Christmas run. Every night I showed it to the crowd. By the way, it took about 20 minutes. And I took my time because I went around the room. I'm like, we're going slow here. And I want everyone to see it. And
did you walk through the room?
No, I was
from
just from the stage, nice and slow.
Pan.
Look at this. And by the way, his expression in that photo is just incredible. Well, it's just, he's looking right through you.
So Peter goes at 8 years old to see Frank Sinatra, and his entire family gets escorted backstage.
Yeah.
And
that's really because of my father, but yeah.
And you got to meet the Pope of Greenwich Village.
Before the show,
king.
He was making a drink in the corner. He had the orange, I think it was orange, handkerchief. Very nice, friendly. We took the picture. And then he said to my sister on the way out, who was, 10, I'll be singing to you.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy? It's just everything was just.
So it was just you and your parents and your sister?
Correct.
Did Pia love that as much?
Yeah, she loved it more because at that time she was even more of a fan of Sinatra. I was, than I was. Not that I wasn't. I was just a little younger, but incredible moment.
Did you take the picture to school after and show your friends?
No, not really. I don't think so. But I certainly do now. I take it everywhere I go.
The weight of that moment has become weightier.
Yes, it certainly
through
has.
the years.
Sir, I'm sorry, we don't have your reservation. Have you seen this photo?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's me.
Did you meet him?
I shook his hand.
Well, that's meeting him.
As far as I got. The first time I saw Sinatra was June of '84. I was 14.
Okay.
And my parents got tickets somewhere in the mid to back section of the main floor at Carnegie Hall.
Okay.
And I'll never forget it. It was an epiphanic moment.
Okay.
But the next year, and I saw Sinatra 17 times over in a 10-year period because he was constantly on the East Coast. 17.
Just want to make sure that they all hear that.
There's a caveat.
17.
There's a caveat. It really racked up once when I had the greatest singing gig of my life. I was playing the Lounge in Atlantic City, the Copa Lounge.
Yeah.
Sinatra was across the hall in the Copa Room. So in between sets,
you're kidding.
I'd go in and out.
Of course.
It was the most miraculous moment of my life in terms of that.
Oh my God.
But the second time I saw Sinatra, my father bought front row tickets from a scalper. We had front row center. We were sitting next to Sylvia Sims.
Oh my God.
and
that's
he
a
got
hell of a scout. That's a great ticket.
Yeah.
Wow.
So and my dad got a picture of me shaking Frank's hand at the edge of the stage.
Oh, on the stage. Oh wow. Well, at least you have that.
I have that, but I'm not quite hanging with Frank the way you were, Peter.
I wasn't hanging. Everyone's lucky for what they got.
That's right.
Right? It's not, it was just
that's the truth.
The comes around once. Like that. That's amazing. Do you grow up being a Sinatra fan?
Oh,
Mickey?
100%. The first night we met, Tom asked what I knew of the world. We were singing.
That's a great line. The way
you love
said
this.
that. Yes,
I know you loved it. we went to Birdland. We were sitting having a scotch, and we looked around. Tony Bennett was in the room. Marilyn May had brought us over there. And he said, "What do you know of this world?" Heavy stuff.
I'm a dramatic kind of a guy. I'm very deep.
I trust you said it exactly like that.
Oh, he did.
Oh, there were hand
What do you know of this
I'm
world?
going to eat an olive.
That's great.
That's the...
And he knew a lot of this world. He really
Well,
did.
what I knew at the time, and I can't... There are things I've known in my life verbatim, like the Harvey Korman in Blazing Saddles, when he rattles off like all the people they need to round up. Do you remember that? Hustlers, rustlers.
Oh, yeah, the movie. Yeah.
I used to know that, every single line of that. But I also knew, because my mom, we had the requisite 1980s Sony stereo stack with the tape player and the...
Wow.
So the main event was on the turntable. The cassette was in the car. And for whatever reason, we didn't change the cassettes a lot. So I knew the main event, Sinatra's return in 1974, which we've talked about so many times.
Yes, we have.
But when I was
we
able
have to stop talking about
I know
it.
we
you
do.
said to me,
We
what
really
do
do.
I know about Sinatra? And emboldened by half a scotch, I repeated the entire Howard Cosell.
And you've been together ever since.
I mean, that was it.
That's, of course.
I could be a mass murderer, but no.
If you know that
you know that you're in.
monologue,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Because it's the most exciting moment.
It's
isn't
so
it?
exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to say this every time I see you now. We're going to just retell the Howard Cosell. We'll talk about the main event. My band and I, my drummer and I, Joe, it's the most exciting television moment ever.
When we listen
And the band kicks in.
so when we listen to Lady is a Tramp, or we just sing it, she gets too hungry for dinner at 8, then I always have to go, "Ah," because there's a woman that
I was just saying that. In
That's on
the
My Way. Isn't that on My Way? When he gets a couple bars.
Oh, no,
on
I
My
think
Way?
you're right. And now the end is near.
Oh, and
so
somebody
I
does
face
that. Okay,
the
yeah.
final curtain.
Oh, that's very funny.
You're right. It's not.
It's My Way.
Yeah, it's my way.
All right. You knew the voiceover. You screwed up
You're
on
close
that.
enough.
It's okay.
All right. I've got one olive left in me.
Exactly.
17
pretty good,
years.
Mickey.
We're in our 18th year now. It's okay.
No,
my
that's incredible. You know the story of this ring, right?
Tell me the
No.
story.
You want to hear the story?
I know
I don't
of
know
the
the
story,
story.
but I want you to tell the story.
The story is this was my grandfather's ring. So my grandmother on my father's side got it for her husband. My grandmother was Julia, and my grandfather's name was Peter. And inside it says "Love Julia," but he passed it on to his son, who was my father, Fred, and then I'm Peter, and he passed it on to me. It's been 3 generations.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's very nice. And this is actually my father's as well. This is his, I guess, his communion. He got this ID bracelet. That one says Fred. So yeah, I'm adorned with,
That's beautiful.
I was going to say,
mementos.
did your father have enormous wrists as a child?
I know, right? It's pretty big. And I think I got it
Communion,
even.
you're what,
I got
7?
it even. It's a great. He was. I think he was 13 when I got it, but who knows? But yeah, you're right, because I even got it short or reduced. But
My mother was once in the jewelry business, and she always said, never get rid of the links and never let them cut the ring.
Oh, good.
They steal
yeah.
the gold.
Oh, funny. I have the links. just in case, I fatten up a little.
No, it's not going to happen. When we do this 30 years from now and Peter's sitting there.
30 years. 50 years.
Did I tell you about the bracelet?
Exactly. I barely get it on.
Kids! I got 7 kids now. Who knew?
Exactly. We're going to do a part 2 in 50 years.
No. Once a year. All right. What's the button? What's the meaning of life? What's it all about, Alfie?
Oh, my God. I don't know. I just said one day at a time, right? That's a good one. A friend of mine says that all the time. I just got off the phone with him before I came here. But every conversation, I don't know, Pete, one day at a time.
Yeah,
And you know what? That's pretty good.
it is.
Yeah.
We're great believers in having fun. Everything should be fun. The world is filled with a little too much misery. I think if everybody sat down and made music,
Yeah,
we'd
it's
be in
true.
a really good place, right?
Yeah, of course. Music is powerful like that. And what you were saying the other night is powerful. The gratitude is
Gratitude's
Easier
huge.
said than done. But we have to be.
But to wake up every morning with all the shit that's going on in the world, just take a moment, find the gratitude.
Yeah,
it doesn't make
dude.
everything else go away, but we
Of
have
course.
much to be grateful for.
Oh yeah. That's your button. Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. And rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the Rainbow Connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the Rainbow Connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under its spell. We know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep? Have you heard voices? 'Cause I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sayers? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the Rainbow Connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
Gorgeous, Peter. Gorgeous. Thank you.
Of course.
Come sit back here for one more minute.
Really?
Seriously.
Way to take the mood down, Jesus.
I feel that, I was reluctant to ask you about your dad's passing and what that was. But
No, you can ask.
Mickey and I were listening today to specifically, to a lot of your music, but specifically to Ghost of My Father. And so that was your kind of coming to terms with
Yeah, that's a good way to say it, yeah.
what a tragic thing happened at a young age. If you would tell us
Sure.
briefly that story.
That's a good way to say it. That song is on my last record. That record was made during the pandemic. I was in the apartment in New York. We didn't leave. I'm with Zaynab, but music was a huge outlet. I'm thankful I had that because I was escaping. And making a record during a thing like that, where you're locked down, changed the creative process, and it changed the writing process. At least I found, even though I was doing all those other songs I told you about before, trying to combine my piano influences, I still have a few original songs. And it was almost like this song was demanded to be written, not to sound too artistic, but some songs are like that in the sense that you could slave and kill yourself to write a song. And then other ones just are like, they're just there for you. Mm-hmm. And this was one of those, not fully. It was torturous to write after the moment of inspiration. But the moment of inspiration came, I just woke up one morning and the melody was there, just there. I can't explain it. Go to the keyboard and the melody was there and it was attached to the title, Ghost of My Father, for some reason. I'm a big believer in the power of the unconscious and how that affects the creative process, because I've had a lot of experiences that made me a believer with songs in the past. On my fourth or fifth album, I have a few songs on that record that are completely from dreams. Wow. And they've changed experiences in my life. There's a song called, I'll get to what you asked me, but this is a bit of a setup. I got a song called Palermo, which was almost entirely in a dream about Palermo, but I don't have any connection to Palermo, but it was in a dream. And now I have a connection to Palermo. I go there a lot. I tour there a lot. And all I did was write down what the hell was in the dream. And the song was in the dream. Anyway, without sounding too crazy. And this was not the martini. This is actually happening. Yeah. So who knows? Ghost of My Father was a little bit of that. And it took I was writing it, and then I have a collaborator who's a brilliant lyricist in Nashville. His name is John Bettis. And I thought, you know what? I was writing it, but it was almost too close to the bone to write alone. I was almost a little bit afraid of how to tell that story, but I knew it needed to be told in a certain way. So I brought it to John, and we worked on it over the course of, I think it was 3 weeks, actually. But, and he encouraged me to, when we were going over each verse, to just say it, just say it. It's the only pretty much, linear description of pretty much what happened. But it is told, if you listen to the song, it is told in 3 stages. And it's about, it's about letting go, but also accepting that you can't let go. Certain things, when you lose somebody like that. I lost my dad when I was 13, and it was at my first professional show on West 46th Street, not far from here. And he was on his way to see me, and he had a heart attack in front of the club. So it's not something I speak about, let alone on a podcast. But only since I wrote the song am I kind of able to kind of talk about it. Not that I shied away, but it wasn't something I spoke about. Then the song was written. I wrote it with John. And we told the story, and it was just really good to tell, I guess. But it was a hard song to write, and it was a hard song to perform. And you realize how much you hold on to, even if you push stuff away. And now the reception of that song around the world has been fascinating to watch. I play it a lot on tour, and we're about to release shortly after, I don't know when you're going to air this thing, but in the next couple months, we're going to release a French version of the song. Wow. That a French singer has somehow fallen in love with the song, and she's a beautiful singer and very well known over there. And hearing the melody in French with her, adaptation of the lyric has been such an honor. So these are mysterious things. They come in a dream or they don't, and then they take their own life. Even with the Palermo, my relationship to that city has grown just because of something I don't really fully understand. And obviously with my father and the song, this was in that category. Wow. But anyway, that's beautiful. But thanks for listening to it.
For being willing and able to share that. Do you in performance, do you let the song just tell the story, or do you set it up with? I
sell it up now. I tell them kind of what I just told you. Here's a background, not something I talk about, but this is the setup for the song. Yeah. And again, my collaborator John really encouraged me to do that, because I'm not that type of performer really. But he's like, just do it. And now since I've been doing it, I mean, the people after the show and the grown men come up to me in tears, and everybody has some story, but of their own. Because that's the beauty of if you could write it in a way. It's funny as I write more and more songs, certain songs achieve a certain universal thing when you get super specific. So this is very specific and very personal to me, but somehow because of that specificity, it became universal. And now I'm hearing stories after show from people that have their own versions, because everybody has shit and everybody struggles and everyone goes through loss. And this song is about, the last line is, no goodbyes. Yeah, I know. It's just your relationship to the grief changes as you get older. And that's what the song's about.
Beautiful.